Hey you guys, it's Peter! And welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Anyway, today, I know, I'm crazy, I'm loony, I'm funny, and I'm boomy? I don't know. I'm not a good poet. So anyway, today we're going to talk about the book and the series 13 Reasons Why, a novel by Jay Asher, a mystery, eulogy, and ceremony, Sherman Alexie, who wrote best-selling author of The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. So, before we get into this video, Pee-Pee, the flying chihuahua, have a kiss, would love to be in this, because he watched it with me. So, if you don't, if you know what you don't know is a lot, okay? If you follow my daily vlog, which is listed below, I'm vlogging every year for the year of 2017. It's showing like everything about my life, the books I'm reading, the audiobooks I'm listening to, everything, going to bookstores, talking about books, writing, my life, going to music festivals, going out of town, driving around, all of it. Follow it below, Peter Vlogs. If you follow that, you know that for like the last 2 weeks, I have talked a lot about the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why. Let me tell you what's so interesting is that usually about 6 months before a show comes out on Netflix, I like get super excited about it, right? And I actually had no idea that this was coming out until like 2 weeks before. I really had no idea. And I had read this book, I don't know, let's see, 3 or 4 years ago. It's been a long time since I've read the book. And I actually have another one of his books, The Future of Us, up there, and I've never read it. So if you've read The Future of Us by Jay Asher and you think I'd like it because I like 13 Reasons Why, will you please leave it in the comment section below. I actually remember going to Kroger and buying it there. I was like at the grocery store one day. I was like, oh, it's Jay Asher book, so I'll buy it. But I've never read it, and so it's sitting over there. So I was really, really excited about this series. And I have to say, I didn't remember that much about the book, and I still don't. I mean, I remembered what it was about. I remembered him getting the tapes and all that kind of stuff, and I remembered, you know, that it was about a girl that had suicided, and, you know, that he was supposed to pass him the tapes and hear his story. And I know that they've kind of expanded upon that story, but that's really all I remembered going into it. So I was rather excited, not remembering a lot about it, so that I could watch the show and kind of really get into it. What was interesting to me was that I tweeted out, like the night before or like 2 days before, that I was really excited about the show being released. I have 2 Twitter accounts. I have Peter Likes Books, it's listed below, and I also have for my main channel, Peter Mon. And I tweeted out on both, and it was interesting because I got really adverse responses on both of my Twitter accounts. And I said I was really excited about it coming out. And a lot of people said they didn't like the book, that they felt like the book you know, really glorified suicide and her reasoning for suicide. And then a lot of other people said that they really thought that it was a great book and all this kind of stuff. Before we get into anything further from this, I want to say that the discussion about this book may be a trigger warning. I don't know. So I just want to put that out there. And also that I think if you have any issues related to suicidal ideation, or any kind of mental health issues, I don't know that I don't believe that maybe the television show is for you, or the series is for you. It's extremely graphic in some parts, and I think it's important going into this video that this is just my opinion. This is not based on any kind of fact. It's just how I feel about things. I would really like to open it to a discussion. I would really like to remain teachable, and whatever comments you guys have in the comment section below, leave, because I'm really open to hearing what people have to say about it. I will say this. I think it's a really important series to be out there. I think that if we're going to have our teenagers watch it, I think that we need to be having discussions with our teenagers about what's going on in there. And for me, somebody that lived a very wild existence as a teenager, and somebody that got sober when I was 22 and has since, in the last 20 years of my life, worked with teenagers almost exclusively, I think it's probably one of the most realistic pop culture references I have ever seen of teenagers today. From the partying, to the parents having no clue what's going on, to the depression, to the anxiety, to the social anxiety, to what really goes on in a school system, to girls being afraid to talk about sexual assault, on and on and on and on and on. I think it addresses so many issues that are really relevant today and need to be discussed, okay? That being said, I don't know that I would be comfortable with my 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old son or daughter watching a show on the side and me having no clue that they're watching it and never addressing these issues with them. I wouldn't feel safe with that. So I do think if you're a parent, this is a show you watch with your child and discuss with them. I'm not a big believer in censorship, but I can understand why some people will. this will not ruin it for you if you've read the book or you've watched the show. You already know it's about somebody's suicide. That's in the trailer for the show. It's in the back of the book. That's the whole premise of the show. You go into it knowing that. I will say the suicide scene to me was extremely graphic on the show. I don't remember it in the book. I don't remember it getting in that much detail. I think they've really taken the characters and the story and just expounded upon it, which I thought was amazing. I think the writers of the series are incredible. I think the actors are unbelievable for their ages. I think the characters are so well conceived. I just was so impressed. And I think that the story wove together extremely well. I believe there will be a second season because I think they left so many things out. I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it. But I literally was watching the episode with the suicide scene in it in my car, and I'm not a person that has any issues with graphic scenes. I couldn't even watch it. That's my one issue with the series. Well, there's two issues. One issue with the series is that I feel like they put, that scene did not need to be as graphic as it is. And I'm kind of like split on it. Like, I feel like if it was for mostly adults that knew what they were getting into and watching it, I think like, I don't know what the intention was to show really how graphic it is, but it's pretty graphic. I had to put my phone down. I couldn't continue to watch the scene. It was too much for me. And the scene afterwards with the mother, it was just emotionally heartbreaking. My other issue with that is, while I think, okay, so it's important for you guys to know that I have never in my life had any suicidal ideation. I don't relate to that issue. I really struggle with understanding it. I've had several people in my life suicide. And the correct term for past tense is actually to suicide, to attempt suicide, to complete suicide, suicided. And a lot of people want to correct me on that in comment sections. But I've had several friends of mine, the mother of a best friend of mine did, and the wave of anguish that it leaves in its wake is incredible, you know? I have seen families never heal as a result of it because I think that there's so many questions that go unanswered and things like that. And I watched the show as a show, but afterwards I had to sit back and ask myself, you know, as a demonstration of this, you know, like for me, I can only speak for myself personally. I'm going to probably get myself in all kinds of trouble doing this video. I can just feel it now. But for me, there's never a good reason to ever go there. Like, I just don't understand that, right? So there wasn't going to be anything in the video, or there wasn't going to be anything in the show that was going to justify the ends to me, if that makes sense. Like, nothing could have happened to this girl that would have justified why she completed suicide. That's how I feel personally, right? But I do understand where she felt very hopeless and where she felt lost. And I think a lot of issues, you know, it was interesting to me how like one layer on top of another, layer on top of another, and layer on top of another. And then the things that people said to her and whatever. The most important thing that I got from it is that I think that we don't really realize the impact that we have on other people and how much that we can really change somebody just by like listening to them, being there for them. Maybe if they don't even want to talk, just to be present for a second and listen to what they have to say, to, you know, ask them if they're having a good day, to take that moment. I think there was a lot of moments where she was waiting for somebody else to respond, where I think that we also, you know, I think the good experience from having gone through this and reading the book and watching the show is to say we sometimes have to get out of ourselves and go talk to other people too, because we don't know where they are, you know? And I always talk about this on my other channel, so I'm going to talk about it on here, is that, you know, when you meet somebody during your day, you never know what kind of day they're having. You never know what has just happened to them. You never know, like, if they're having the worst day or the best day in their entire life. And I think to start meeting people kinder, more compassionately, more loving, I think is important. As a TV show, I thought, or as a television series on Netflix, I thought it was extremely well done. I think it's a very sensitive topic. I thought taking this book and turning it into something of importance, I thought the addressing was very well done. I thought the addressing of substance abuse, sexual assault, parenting, suicide, counseling. I did a whole other video on my other channel related to this. I will link it below. on how I had a counselor in high school that told me that I would amount to nothing. It very much reminded me of the scene with the counselor in the show. So I think it was very, very well done. I do not think it is a show for people that suffer from any of these issues. I think in active addiction, had I watched this show, it may have made me want to party more. I think it would have maybe been a trigger for me. You know, and I'm not blaming it on a TV show. I mean, we can only be so protected in society. I was surprised that there wasn't more of a warning specifically on that one episode of what you were about to see. I was not prepared going into that episode of watching that scene. I wasn't. I really think in 2017 we should be putting more coding around things like that. And protecting each other more. And especially a show that's being talked about so much, right? I'm thinking about possibly going back and rereading the book because I want to kind of see how it compares to it. So there's how I feel on it on a very deep level. On a very flippant kind of, you know, whatever, you know, I love the character of Tony. I thought he was, you know, listen, and we all know these actors are in their 20s, okay? He was adorable. And I thought he was such a good friend to Clay. I love the interaction with the characters. I thought, what's the best friend's name? Jessica. I thought she played an alcoholic, teenage alcoholic so well. I mean, it was just incredible. I thought Justin feeling lost was just unbelievable. I thought Bryce, who will now probably be typecasted for life, poor kid, I thought he played the role so well. I watched the show and I instantly stopped thinking of them as actors and started thinking of them as real people. Clay as the main character and Hannah as the main character. I mean, I thought they were just such great actors in those parts. The scene at the end when she's walking home from the hot tub scene, I felt like, I can't remember what the actress's name is, but you could feel in her face and in the way that she walked, her pain. And I think that's what we want to do through art, is we want to relay that message. What I hope comes as a result of this show and of this book, because I do think it's an important show and I do think it's an important book, is that I hope that we learn from it. I hope that we learn that hopelessness doesn't have to be an end and that we can grow from that and that people can talk to one another and they can open up to one another. I hope that we'll start asking one another, are you okay? And mean it and listen, actively listening to one another. I hope that we will start paying more attention to our kids, to our nephews, to our neighbors, and really paying attention to people, really paying attention. I had somebody that avidly watches my videos I said something to him about, he's in high school, making friends in high school, and he said, I don't talk to anybody at all during a day in high school. And high school's a tough place. It's a battleground, whether we want to admit it or not, okay? High school's a battleground. I think the show really shows that and demonstrates that. And I think we have to be more loving and more kind and more compassionate. I stand with the kids. I've always said that. I always will stand with the kids. They're our future generation. And I love them. I've devoted my whole life to them because I think had I had somebody in high school, I had wonderful parents, but had I had somebody that was looking out a little bit more for me, maybe on the school turf, maybe it wouldn't have been a battleground for me. I don't know. I take a lot of responsibility, but there are some things I can't take responsibility over. And I think the show was eye-opening to me. It kind of brought up some things for me that were hard to watch and remember. And I think for that, it was good as opening discussions. But like I said, I think that, there needs to be some parental warnings on this show. And I think that, I'm not somebody that believes in censorship as far as sex or as far as violence, like shoot 'em up kind of stuff. Like, I'm not talking about gang kind of stuff. I'm talking about like a Sylvester Stallone movie. But this is a show that I definitely think needs to have some conversations going into before you allow your child to watch it. So, and if you're an adult and you're triggered by those things, be very wary going into it. Like, it really brought up a lot of emotions for me. There were some episodes that I had to stop and not continue to watch. Like, I really was not in the space to watch it. So, and I'm somebody that can probably watch or listen to anything, but there were just some things to me that were very, very painful to watch. So, did you guys watch the series? Have you read the book? How did you think it compared? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I'm really open to hearing different points of view. I want BookTube to be, open conversations about books and things like that. And so I don't want to turn anybody off with my opinion. I'm totally open to hearing what you said, and you may change my opinion about some things. So please leave it in the comment section below. I love you guys so much. And if you have read another Jay Asher book that you think that I would enjoy, could you leave in the comment section what the title is? And I will talk to you guys later. I love you. Bye.